Today we have this one here from Silvercrest. I always call it a Monsieur Cuisine, however you pronounce that. Yeah, nice to have you tuning in again. So today I have the blender from Lidl here. It's been doing pretty well so far. We've had the blender for almost 2.5 years now. But lately it's been making a weird noise. Unfortunately, I can't really repeat the noise here for you. It kind of bangs loudly like this, and then it suddenly bangs just like that. And it sounds so dangerous that you think it could fly apart at any moment. Might blow up soon. It's really just a tiny issue, but it makes such a huge racket that it sounds super loud. So now I'm thinking that the blade assembly here just isn't 100% anymore. So of course I took another look at the pot inside, but the blade assembly was still the same. No change. It was actually a little loose here, so I tightened this nut back up again, but as it turns out, that wasn't really the main problem. Then I also checked the bottom of the pot again. Yeah, here's the mount. But I couldn't find anything wrong with it here either. Yeah, then of course I took a look at the inside here, checked out the situation. You use this as a cover plate. Well, you really have to notice here that this part was wobbling all over the place. I mean, this part here was really loose. There's just too much play here. Yeah, because inside here is where the motor shaft sits and it just rests on top. There is actually a circlip as a retainer, but that's just a bit excessive for this. But when I take a closer look at the shavings now, it's because we have tiny bits of brass shavings in this area, which probably come from this nut here. Yeah, at first I thought maybe it was slipping here, but if that were the case, then it would have to, yeah, then somewhere along the edge here, the corners would have to be rounded off or something, but that's not the case either. I can imagine that maybe it's slipping on the shaft, and that's why the shavings are being worn away like this, that it's sliding from the shaft toward the nut. Yeah, let's take a look at that now. Now I'll take off the circlip first. Now it's even a little bent in the end. All right, now we've got it in our hands. The hard shell of the nut itself is cracked right here, here, and over here. So the nut has 3 fracture points, and yeah, apparently it got over-tightened in here so that, well, over-tightened, I don't know, you can't really say for sure, but it tried to stand up here, and in doing so, it even damaged the housing here, the plastic housing. So here and here, there are 2 cracks. And it seems to somehow slip over on the shaft itself, and because of that, yeah. That's where those weird noises come from. Let's turn it around. What does it look like on the other side? That's exactly what we thought. And here, the crack goes all the way over to here, and on the other side as well. It hasn't gone all the way through yet, but it already has, and the nut itself has 3 cracks. It's done for. This here is the new one. It's been slightly redesigned, and it's not made of brass anymore. Of course, it's important that if you order here now, you can see that we now have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are also some that have 5. That means if we want to order, we first have to come here. The wine, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. We are like a flower with 7 blossoms. Now let's talk about this. We need to order it again so that there are 7 of them. Yes, and of course the opening in the middle fits, and that part is the cutting blade. And it's basically sitting like this. That's why this pattern appears, and it rotates, and of course it cuts better. So, and that's why it's important to have the same number of teeth as here, you know? It won't fit for us, but of course you can order the product here. I've linked it again for you down in the video description. If I put this in now, well then, if that is the case, then that's the absolute only move I have left. So there is just a very small, limited amount of wiggle room. And if we make a direct comparison here again now, that's already a lot of stuff going on. All the things it does. Now we're already getting in there, of course. You can see the shavings. Should we try to get that off? Just a little bit more. So I've now reshaped the saw ring a bit. Here, I would definitely recommend using a new one. So a new one just to be on the safe side. I'm going to use the old one now, but I would recommend to use a new one. Alright, now let's put the new one on. And put this piece in here, the screwdriver over here. Bam, just twist it tight. It would be nice if we had a new ring for this, but what's important is that it's bright. When you pull here, it should be tight. You can also see, if you look in from the top, that it's already gripping onto the edge here, that it's sitting in place. That's important. Now the cover goes on here. And just as quickly as that, we're back to the exact way that things used to be before. Now I'm going to experiment with using rock rag, which really made the whole thing look incredibly nice, just like this. The passage is now gone through. Now we'll check again afterwards to make sure everything's still in place. And that looks good, Biff. And you enjoyed this video? I would truly and sincerely appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Of course, subscribing is completely free for you for all products. As always, you'll find all the products for this video in the video description. Please check the links below. That's it. Bye. See you next time.